I drew Kagurabachi. Kagurabachi is a meme from 500,000 years ago based on the manga by Hokazo no Takeru. In a world stuck somewhere between 1886 and 2007, Chihiro Rokuhira's dad gets murdered by wizards from the Yakuza, prompting him to study the blade, swear vengeance, and speedrun every shonen trope on his quest to retrieve the 6 enchanted swords and answer the question, what if Demon Slayer was Jujutsu Kaisen? The first thing that impressed me while reading is how fast the manga locks in. In the very first story arc, it's revealed that a kid has the powers of Deadpool, so the villains want to chop her to pieces and mix her up with a magic rock in hopes of replicating Zoro's second shittest sword. So the magic police sends a squad of side characters to fight a crackhead on top of a meteor. Meanwhile, the actual plot is going on. The story pulls a magic trick where it does 15 things at once while continuously cooking in the background, so it can later pull new twists out of the oven instead of pulling them out of its ass. Like when Chihiro decides to compromise and join the cops in their fight against the wizard mafia instead of opposing them and doing things on his own. Every event up to that point led to him changing his mind and his perspective on things. The villains are smart too. They're not just betting on their ability to beat the heroes in a fight. They're betting on Chihiro being too much of an edgelord to make the right decisions. So by turning the edge down from Shadow the Hedgehog level to Ryuko level, he gets character development while also moving the plot forward. The power system is surprisingly good. When you ask people what the best power system is, chances are they'll say Nen from Hunter x Hunter, and technically, they are correct. Since Nen is constructed in such a way that most other power systems could potentially exist within Nen, because Togashi was thinking in the 7th dimension. Now, the main potential problem with things like Nen is that over half the fight needs to be spent on characters explaining what is happening and how the powers work, because otherwise it won't make any sense to the audience. Which is why JoJo Part 7 has Neil deGrasse Tyson at the bottom of each page commenting on the action. Then you got Haki from One Piece, which is about as complicated as rock, paper, scissors, because it's a secondary power system. But then you got Demon Slayer's power system, which is like playing tic-tac-toe on a 1x1 grid. Kagurabachi does the smart thing by assuming you've already seen other shonen, so it only needs to explain the bits that are essential to the plot. I also greatly appreciated the reduced cast of characters when compared to other similar manga. In Jujutsu Kaisen, they introduced like 17 characters who are completely useless in a fight. In Kagurabachi, these guys can't be introduced, because they all die before I could even remember their names. The art is also fantastic. Every time a fight breaks out, the perspective gets all funky, and the action is also enhanced by the fact that Chihiro enters most of the fights by standing in the background like Freddy Fazbear for 5 seconds, before everyone's heads start flying off regardless of how much sense it makes. Like in this scene where Chihiro hits a bad guy with the laser beak special, and then shows up on the floor below 1 millisecond later to take out the other goons. Or this other scene where he pulls a guy out of a car and holds him on the ground with a sword to his throat while being completely covered in shadows, even though it's broad daylight. I even like the logo. It looks nice. It's all scratched up and damaged. Like me. It reminds me of Bleach, opening 13. This opening is so hardcore, they don't even have a logo anymore. The logo died. It's just Times New Roman now. That's how dark this arc was. Back when I was 12. I give Kagurabachi a Kagura out of a Bachi.